Welcome to the educational program of Grace United Baptist Church in Winfield, Kansas. We're in our 6th week at taking a look at COVID through the lens of faith. Um, as we've experienced the pandemic, COVID has become the name of our game in our life together. And we're trying to look at it through the lens of faith. And this week we're considering what clearly existed prior to the COVID, but in the last 3 years, this condition has somehow been set in concrete as the new foundation of our life in the United States. It is now an accepted description of the no longer United States. We have become the divided states. Division is a given, accepted, normal. Between generations, there is division. Within religious communities, there is division. Division between the rural and the urban, between economic classes, between races, between national origins. We are marked by our divisions, not by our unity. We are divided, not united. And it seems like it's set in concrete. This has become so evident and visible during our journey with COVID. We tried to cope with COVID as a divided people. If a leader advocated any strategy or tactic to prevent the spread or treat the virus, the announcement was met with loud opposition, often only because we want to be divided. We don't want to be friends. The global community looked at us and scratched their heads as our identity was either mask wearers or anti-maskers. We were either vaccinated or the anti-vaxxers. The traditional sources that had always provided a common ground on which we could all stand together were ignored or abolished. I remember hearing a panel discussion which about our divisions, which oftentimes leads to divisive and sometimes mean and cruel behavior. One panelist asked the question, I wonder if we have become so accustomed to being divided that this has become our way of life, that we relish and adore division. And if that is the case, as if an event like 9/11 would happen today, would we be unable to respond and the tried and true historical truth will prevail? United we stand, divided we fall. You see, the formula is clear. Division produces fragmentation. Fragmentation leads to falling apart, destruction. For when we relish and adore division, we've lost our appetite for unity. My observation is that the characteristic of division existed before the pandemic, that is to be sure, but the pandemic has set this way of life in concrete. Indeed, possibly for generations, that this is our identity. We relish and adore division. We've lost our appetite for unity. And that's who we are. not for a season that will quickly pass. Sociologists, psychologists, partisan politicians, economists, and others can examine the nature of a divided people. From each perspective, they can describe what that means. But our task is to look at it through the lens of faith. What does our dividedness mean through the lens of faith? My point of beginning in my conversation 30 years ago with a colleague from Angola. This man was educated in the United States, college and graduate school. And at that time of our visit, Angola was in the midst of a civil war, a divided nation with each side of the war funded, one side by the Soviet Union, the other side by the United States, both nations wanting access to the natural resources of Angola, including rare minerals, which made Angola at that time with more natural resources per capita than any other nation in the world. Therefore, a civil war. The United Methodist Church in Angola at the same time was growing by leaps and bounds, doubling in participation every 5 years. I asked my friend, what's the difference? You were educated in the United States, you're an Angolan, you live in Angola now. What's the difference? You're doubling in size, we're struggling, you're thriving. We've got the same book of discipline, the same sense of mission. And he thought for a moment, really a minute and maybe longer, and then responded, you sing I songs, we sing we songs. End of quote. Period. No other explanation. In Angola, we is the essence of our life together. We is the foundation, not an option. Now, the chorus of one of the new favorite hymns in the United Methodist Church in the past 50 years is, here I am, Lord, is it I, Lord? I've heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me, I will hold you in my heart. You know, we sang that hymn in Angola. You know what we sang? Here we are, Lord. Is it us, Lord? We have heard you calling in the night. We will go, Lord, if you lead us. We will hold you in our hearts. You see, this is singing our faith. It's all about relationships, one with another. Unity is not an option. It is the foundation of the human community and the foundation of the people of faith. Think about it. Singing, He leadeth us, instead of He leadeth me. Singing, we danced in the morning, rather than I danced in the morning. Oh Jesus, we have promised, rather than, oh Jesus, I have promised. You sing I songs, we sing we songs. For unity is that strong bond that embraces differences, embraces conflicts, embraces compromise, embraces reconciliation. This must be the message and mission of the church in a nation and culture that is precariously close to embracing division as a given and as a foundation of life together. COVID, through the lens of faith, it's the mission of the church to transform our culture from a culture of division to a culture of unity. That, my friends, in my opinion, is the business of the church, looking at COVID through the lens of faith. For your thought and our conversation with each other, first of all, what are indications you experience that we have become a culture which relishes and adores division? Another, who are the historical and contemporary architects of life together based on unity rather than division? What's your response to the invitation to sing we songs rather than I songs? Enjoy the week and enjoy your thoughts.